And we are back for our daily NBA predictions and best bets here for May 9th. 2 games today and 2 big ones. The Cleveland Cavaliers head to the Gainbridge Fieldhouse to take on their division rivals, I guess, in the Indiana Pacers. Indiana up 2-0 now at home in this series. I said it was going to be 1-1 originally. I switched it to 2-0, and here we go. I'm just saying the sweep might happen. It might happen. And we're going to talk in depth about this game today. Second game, Thunder Nuggets, a huge victory for the OKC Thunder the other day, getting this series to 1-1. We are now in Denver. We'll talk about that game and more in just a few moments. But folks, before we get into the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more daily NBA predictions and best bets tomorrow. Celtics, Knicks, Game 3. That series 2-1 Knicks. Timberwolves, Warriors series all knotted up at 1-1, going back to San Francisco again for that game number 3. Also on the channel, earlier today, we posted our MLB best bets. Make sure to go check out that video. And also, we've got our UFC 315 predictions up on Greedo Plays MMA. That is tomorrow from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Make sure to go check that video out. And also our PFL Europe Belfast predictions. That is linked in the description down below. Go subscribe to Greedo Plays MMA. We are less than 300 subscribers away from 1,000. Okay, on to the first of our 2 games today, Pacers-Cavaliers. I'm going with the Indiana Pacers. So initially, when I saw this series, injuries or not, and I still firmly believe this, even if the Cavaliers were healthy, guys, I still think the Pacers would have won in 6 games. There's a reason I had the Pacers in game 1. There's a reason before the Hunter and Mobley injuries. There was a reason I've been saying for the longest time this is the matchup I wanted for the Indiana Pacers. I've always thought they could get the Cleveland Cavaliers, and it's playing out right in front of our eyes. Why are the Cleveland Cavaliers favored to win this basketball game? It's a money glitch, guys. It's a money glitch. I don't know what the books are thinking. Now, I'll say this. I think it was Charles Barkley who said this. Not about this series, about Knicks Boston, because obviously, the media is going to talk about that series much more than Pacers Cavaliers. But anyways, Charles Barkley made a great point about that series, about how Game 3 is the most important game of the series now for the Knicks. And not just that, it's almost a must-win, because if you can get Boston out of there in game number 3, again, no team in the NBA has ever come back from down 3-0, right? Boston got close a couple years ago against the Miami Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals, but ultimately they lost that game 7. The odds of choking a 3-0 lead are slim to none, right? So if you can win game 3 and also you bury the other team, you put them away, and especially in this spot, more so than the Knicks Celtics, if the Pacers win game number 3 and the injury situation surrounding Cleveland, yeah, the Cavs are probably just going to look at that, and I'm not saying they're going to lay down and get rolled over, but then the question does start to come out. All right, you're down 3-0. Garland still hurt, Mobley hurt, Hunter hurt. I don't think Donovan Mitchell's 100%. I'm just going to be honest. The hip injury at the end of the game, at least that appeared to be the case. Again, I just don't think Donovan's 100%. I think maybe he's, 70 at best. And you look at this Cavs team, Donovan Mitchell has to do everything. There is not anything that Donovan Mitchell doesn't do. And I'll get to more about the X's and O's in a second. But this is a huge game for the Pacers to the point that they can just put this away right now. And they can go back to the Eastern Conference Finals for the 2nd straight season in a row. On top of that, guys, the game's in Indiana. And the home court advantage the Pacers have, it's insane. It's crazy what the Gainbridge Fieldhouse brings to Indianapolis, Indiana. Now again, originally, I had the Pacers winning both of these games in Indiana. At the very start of the series, I said, all right, Pacers game 1, Cavs game 2, Pacers 3-4, Cavs 5, Pacers 6. But after game 1 and after the injuries, I said, you know what? Indiana's going to win game 2, and I think they're going to sweep. And I still believe that. I still think the Indiana Pacers are going to sweep the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I think they're going to the NBA Finals. Again, I'll get to that in a little bit later. But here's my thing about Donovan Mitchell, guys. Donovan Mitchell, I don't think he's 100%. I think he's literally doing everything in his power, obviously. Now, I don't want to get into Donovan Mitchell's whistle, but I will. Guys, this guy is one of the best whistles in the NBA. Okay? You want to talk about SGA's whistle? Watch Donovan Mitchell play and watch Jimmy Butler play. Okay, the whistles that these guys have, it's insane. You can't touch Donovan Mitchell and he's to the free throw line. It's insane. 21 free throws in game number 2. That's as many free throws as the Pacers made all game long in game number 2. Mitchell had more free throws and field goals in that game. Sure, 48 points. It's impressive, yes. And Donovan Mitchell has done this pretty much in every single postseason series he's ever been in, right? Look at the bubble series, that war that he had when he was still in the Jazz taking on the Nuggets, right? Mitchell is always going to give it his all in the postseason. He is a guy who rises to the occasion. However, look at the rest of his team right now. I mean, and I'll talk about the injuries in just a few moments, but look at the team. If all those guys are still out, it's Dean Wade, Jared Allen, Mitch, Ty Jerome, who was horrible, 1 for 14 from the field, and then Max Strus, who was good, but now your bench unit's Isaac Okoro and Sam Merrill. And you're essentially running 7-man rotation. Yeah, they played Javonte Green some. It's a 7-man rotation. Now, you look at the Cleveland injury situation. Guys, I don't think any of these guys are playing. I'm just going to be honest. I don't think Hunter's playing. I think the most likely guy to play, I think, is probably Mobley. I think. I don't know. I don't think Garland's playing. I don't think Garland's playing. I think Garland's done for the year, personally. And I've said this before. If Darius Garland's on the court, I think it's actually might be worse for Cleveland. Because he's definitely not 100%. They're only pushing him back for the playoffs. It's a toe injury, guys. It's a player like Darius Garland, you can't have a toe injury. You got to be quick. He doesn't really defend all that well in the first place. But obviously, again, he's a great guard. He's an all-star, and he makes up with it for what he does in the offensive side of the ball. The problem is, though, right, when Darius Garland doesn't have his speed, when Darius Garland can't play make in the ways he would like to, then, okay, he's a lesser version of himself on offense, and he's just a traffic cone on defense. And he's going to have to guard Tyrese Halliburton, who might be one of the best playoff risers of all time, might be the clutchest player in the NBA. Guys, Tyrese Halliburton is 10 for 11 this year in moments, let me get this right, in shots less than 2 minutes into the game, or less than 2 minutes before, the end of the game, to either tie or take the lead. Tyrese Halliburton is 10 for 11 in essentially game-winning shots or game-tying shots this season. That's almost unheard of. And the fact that this guy doesn't get one vote for Clutch Player of the Year, all right. I give Jalen Brunson a lot of credit. He's been great in the playoffs. He's been very great all year long. But Tyrese is one of the most clutch, if not the most clutch player in all of basketball. I talked about it a couple weeks ago before the playoffs. Halliburton's the most overhated player for no reason. It's ridiculous. I'll make a slight comp to Bryce Harper. Not to the same extent. Obviously, Harper was the chosen one coming into the MLB. He was the LeBron James of the MLB, right? But at the same time, right, great player is so hated that he actually becomes underrated. And that's what Bryce Harper became, obviously, until he won MVP in Philadelphia. Now, obviously, everyone kind of acknowledges how great Harper is. But that's kind of what I'm getting with Halliburton now. It's that he's actually underrated, I think, because he's overhated. So I don't think the Cavs are playing any of these guys. I think, again, the most likely guy to play is maybe Mobley or Hunter. I don't think Garland's playing. But personally, I don't think any of them are going to play. So then you get stuck with, all right, Donovan Mitchell has to do everything again. And on the road, that's just not going to fare well. And the Pacers should win this game fairly easily. I'm just going to be honest. They're in their own environment now. They have beat the Cavaliers in the fourth quarter both times in the series, something that they couldn't do and ultimately eliminated them last year in the playoffs against the Boston Celtics, was that they couldn't close and they couldn't win fourth quarters, right? People forget every game of the Eastern Conference Finals last year, yes, it was a sweep, but every game was competitive. And the Pacers had a chance to win in every fourth quarter last year. The Celtics just knew how to close better than Indiana. Sure, that's great. I don't think the Celtics are going to get to the rematch. Again, we'll get to that game tomorrow, right? Between them and the Knicks now at MSG. I just think momentum's a big thing. I don't think the Cavs are able to go on the road and win, especially with the injuries that they have. And the Pacers, I don't even think they played a good game, too. They played a great second half, don't get me wrong. Really great fourth quarter. In the first half and really the first quarter, this team was abysmal, man. They could not hit a shot. They had a below, for the Pacers standards, a bad shooting night. They still shot 40% from the three-point line, but they didn't take as many three-pointers as I think they wanted to, and they got off to such a cold start. Obviously, again, down the stretch, they were great. But this team still won game 2 with Pascal Siakam, their all-star. Yes, we talk about Halliburton as the face of the franchise because he is. Halliburton's maybe already the greatest Pacers player of all time. He's getting there. I know Reggie Miller obviously exists, and Paul George, I guess, can be in that discussion as well. But Halliburton, I think, again, you give him maybe 5 more years in Indiana, he's going to be the Pacers' GOAT. Let's just be honest. I mean, again, I say it all the time, this guy, he personifies Indiana basketball. That's what Tyrese Halliburton does. But they still won that game without Siakam really doing a thing. Siakam had a bad game. He just didn't take many shots. He shot horribly from the free throw line. I think the Pacers are going to be playing with momentum now. They have the home crowd behind them. And I think they're just going to hit a million threes in this game, if I'm being honest, right? I mean, again, for Pacers standards, guys, it wasn't a great game, shooting-wise. Nesmith was great. He's been excellent. 5 for 8 from the three-point line. But Nembhard went 0 for 4. Mathurin went 1 for 3. right? There's spots where they can be better from the 3-point line. That's what makes them so dangerous. I don't even think game 2 was their best performance. And obviously, again, yes, they had to come back from behind. They went on that huge run with a minute left. But I think they're going to beat the Cavs here. I just don't think the Cavs have an answer on the road. The Pacers, they shoot the ball like crazy. I think Indiana's going to play better defense at home. I just think everything in this series now continues to go more of the way to the Pacers. I don't think we even see Cleveland again. I don't think we go back to Cleveland. I think the Pacers are going to sweep. So give me Indiana here. The books haven't learned. They're still dogs, so take it while you can. And I think the Indiana Pacers are going to the NBA Finals. They're going to sweep the Cavaliers. They will win tonight, and they're going to win on Sunday as well. And they're going to beat the New York Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals. I like the Knicks. I think they're doing a great job this season. I applaud Jalen Brunson and Cat and Mikal Bridges. But no, the Pacers are beating that team again. I know what you can say, oh, the injuries last year. No, Indiana's better than they were last year, though. And Tyrese Halliburton is a top 10 player in the NBA. I'm serious about that. You have to consider what he does in the postseason. He's a top 10 player in the sport. He's been injured. He was injured the first half of the season, and everyone wrote him off as being horrible. He's healthy now, and look at the guy go. I think their Pacers are going to the NBA Finals. They're going to. Something I said months ago is actually coming true. Give me Indiana to beat the Cavaliers. Tyrese Halliburton is that guy. He is so overhated. He is becoming underrated now in the NBA. He's that guy. Pacers beat the Cavaliers. They win game 3. We'll go for the sweep on Sunday. We go to our final game of the day and second game of the day. We go to Denver, Colorado. The Oklahoma City Thunder take on the Denver Nuggets. For as much as I will hype up the Indiana Pacers because I absolutely love that basketball team, I'm a huge Tyrese Halliburton fan, right? My three favorite players in the league, 2 of them play on Indiana and OKC. The third, obviously, LeBron James. But Tyrese Halliburton and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I just love watching these guys play basketball. I have been hyping up the Pacers a lot. That team's great. Guys, I just don't see the Thunder losing. They're going to lose games. I made the bold claim they were going to go 16-0 in the playoffs. Didn't happen. They'll have spots where they'll lose, but no one's beating this team in a 7-game series, guys. And the scariest part about all of this is that this team's so young. Shai's, 26, 27 years old, and he's winning his first MVP at 26. And this team could potentially land Kevin Durant in the offseason. They might have a top 5 pick from the Philadelphia 76ers. I know it's top 3 protected, but then, okay, you just get it again next season if it's a top 3 pick. But likely, OKC's just going to end up with another, top 8-ish pick, which if they want KD, there you go. They have so much draft capital. Sam Presti's done an amazing job. And here we go, right? I mean, the Pacers, this is what they do. They're going to beat the Nuggets tonight. I think game 2 showed us that game 1 was honestly just a fluke. I think Denver played a great game 1, but OKC was just atrocious in that first game of the series. Shai was good. The rest of the team wasn't, right? After watching more of, watching game 1 and watching game 2, Luka Doncic said this, but it's true. I mean, Shai makes the Thunder look really good. When in reality, they're a good team. They are the best team in the NBA. Without Shai, they're not. Let's just be honest. But SGA makes them look unstoppable because of what he does. I mean, the shots this guy takes, the respect he demands on the court, and I don't mean that from a corny aura perspective. I mean that from the fact that Shai is going to warrant double teams most of the basketball game. And what SGA does so well is that he can split those doubles and he can still shot create and he can still play make, out of those double teams. Or again, you get that high pick and roll, and then you let Shai work from there. You get the switch that you want. If they send 2, then boom, Shai can just kick to the corner. And that will present wide open threes for guys like Lou Dort, Jalen Williams, who was an all-star this season because of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Let's just be honest. I like J-Dub a lot, but he's nowhere near the level of stardom that he's at now if it's not for SGA. And same can be said about Chet Holmgren. Now, this might be a hot take. I don't think Holmgren's better than Isaiah Hartenstein right now. I'm just going to be honest. In a playoff series, I trust Hartenstein a lot more. Now, I know, again, the 3-point shot's going to be there with Chet. Maybe the finishing ability is better for Chet than Hartenstein. Defensively, though, I mean, Chet's nowhere near what Hartenstein does, right? Chet has been relegated to a role of, okay, he's going to sit corner and he's going to play help defense on Nikola Jokic, which is fine. But obviously, that is that's a challenge presented for Hartenstein, which is fine. Again, he's been here before. He's been in the playoffs, obviously, was with that Knicks team last year when they made their run. But I will argue that, Holmgren has looked a lot better this season because of what Shea has done. And honestly, that's kind of what this Thunder team is built around. Again, you can make the jokes about the aura and whatnot, but, that's kind of what Shea does for the squad, right? The Thunder blow out the Nuggets in game 2. It's not a competitive basketball game. Right from the jump, Indiana outscores the Nuggets 45-21 in the first quarter. And again, I feel like we are in the territory now of who can stop OKC. And beyond that, who can stop the dynasty that I think is going to be formed. I just think this is the start. Guys, everything that was talked about in 2012, when that Thunder team with Russ, KD, and Harden finally made the NBA Finals, or, they got there, they lost to the Miami Heat, but that was supposed to be the start of the dynasty, or at least the start of their run, and they're going to be contenders every season. Obviously, again, they couldn't get over the hump of the San Antonio Spurs. They can never get back to the NBA Finals. KD leaves, right, because the Warriors, and obviously goes to Golden State. Now, I think this OKC team is everything that we thought that original OKC team in 2012 was going to be. I really think so. And that's not to, hate on KD or Russ or even Harden, but it's just, I think that's just what Shea does for this team. And I think obviously it's a way deeper team than what they had in 2012. The bench unit for OKC this year, again, is just crazy. You get guys like, Caruso, Aaron Wiggins, hell, clown on J-Dub all you want, South Carolina J-Dub. But that guy can hoop as well. Arkansas, J-Dub. That's a deep bench. Williams, AJ Mitchell, there's guys who are going to, they're going to come alive on that bench. But additionally, they have the best player in the NBA on their team. And with all due respect to Kevin Durant, that's something that the initial Thunder team, when they were contenders, didn't have. LeBron James played in the league. And then eventually Steph Curry played in the league. Now, again, I think KD was better than Steph, but they just couldn't get over that hump. Now the Thunder are always going to have the best player in the league on the court at all times. It's a big difference, I don't think this is the end this year. I think they're going to win this year. I think they're going to add Kevin Durant in the offseason. And I think this team's going to win at least 3 championships with this core. Maybe more. They're just so young. Shea's their oldest player out the young core, and he's 26. Guys, we're going to get... The way guys are going deep into their careers now, we can get 10 more years of elite Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. How many MVPs is this guy going to win? How many championships is this guy going to win? And the question needs to be asked, where will Shai Gilgeous-Alexander be in the greatest of all time conversation by the time his career is over? I'm serious about that. Again, you can laugh at the aura and whatnot, but that's a serious conversation that's going to need to be had. I'm not joking. I think this guy is going to have a Michael Jordan-esque run. That's not glazing. I'm just being for real about this. I'm taking the Thunder to beat the Nuggets tonight. I think they're in a great position to win this basketball game. They're on the road in Denver. I think they're going to get this one fairly easily, if I'm being honest. I just think they're too deep. They're too good. I think Shai's going to have a really great night. And we saw in game 2, right? Those are the problems the Nuggets had defensively against OKC, or the problems that we kind of thought they were going to have in the series. Game 1 was a fluke. It happened, but we can move on from that, right? What we saw in game 2 is what we've been expecting OKC to do. Guys, you score 150 points in the playoffs. In the second round, against a team that, they're not the best, obviously, at all, defensively wise, but if you put 150 on a team in the playoffs, that's insane. They're just too good. I just don't know what to say. Jokic can do his all, obviously. And in all fairness to him, this Nuggets team just isn't built to compete against OKC. And in all fairness, there are very few teams that are built to compete against Oklahoma City. For as much as I'm hyping up this Pacers run this year, guys, the Thunder will beat the Pacers in 5 games. I'm just going to be honest with you. You look at the other side of the bracket right now in the West, the Thunder are going to sweep either Minnesota or Golden State. Likely Minnesota. I'm sure the Thunder are going to love to get Golden State if possible. Injured Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler's your number 1 in the Big 2025. And on the other side of the bracket, if it's the Celtics, that's a test. But Boston's not playing nowhere near their best basketball right now, so they're probably not even going to get here. The Knicks, I think that's Thunder in 5. Cleveland, if they get here, they're going to be too injured. That's probably a Thunder sweep. And Indy, I like the Pacers a lot, but I think the Thunder win in 5 games. Yeah, this team's winning the NBA Finals, and again, I think we really need to talk about how many can they get at this point. Not just 1, not just 2. Again, there's going to be multiple. That's how good this team is. I'm taking Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the Oklahoma City Thunder to beat the Denver Nuggets tonight. They're 5.5-point favorites on the road, and they should cover that fairly easily. How do the Nuggets guard this team, and how do they guard Shai Gilgeous-Alexander? The answer is they simply just can't do it. So give me Shai and OKC to win. They're going to go up 2-1, and they likely win this series in 5 or 6. I could see Denver maybe getting game 4, but I think all the momentum is with OKC now, and I think, again, max 6 games, but OKC's winning this one and getting this series. So, folks, thank y'all for watching our NBA predictions here for May 9th. If you haven't yet, though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more, and make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you do disagree with any of the picks. Folks, thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.